Alright, this is a 1999 Ford Ranger pickup. We're replacing the coolant temperature sensor. That's this guy right here. But we're also replacing this elbow bracket because it's got a leak in it. It's a common thing to happen. And I may even get energetic and replace the thermostat, which is buried behind that right there. Anyway, I've got most of the stuff taken apart already, so I'm going to explain to you what had to happen in order to get to this. This AC line right here has to be moved away from it. So it has a bracket right here, and it's attached down below. You have to fish around. It's a 13 millimeter nut, but there's a nut on top of a bolt with a nut. So it's kind of tricky because one of them's holding the the water pump on. Actually, the bolt is. So you got to get the nut off without pulling the bolt out. I had to actually get a real thin 13 millimeter to put on the back bolt while I unscrewed the nut on the front side. Get that out. Pain in the butt. So then the next thing you got to do is you got to come over here and you have to remove 3 of these long 13 millimeter bolts that hold the AC unit on here and here and up here. And once you do that, then you can lift the whole unit back and pull it out of the way. That's what I did here. I pulled it back out of the way. Oh, actually, I should back up here. Before you do that, you need to take the tension off your serpentine belt and remove the serpentine belt. You see it hanging down here loose, back out of the way. And then you can loosen up the AC unit, back it out of the way. And then I got it tied off here, tight, back out of the way. Of course, you have to remove the air intake hose right here that goes right here over to the air intake filter. You'll have to take that off. You'll want to drain coolant out. That's what you hear down there. It's going to trickle, trickle, trickle down below. There's in a bucket right here. All right. So you'll remove that. Obviously, you're removing this connector here off the air hose and the sensor, temperature sensor, right there. And I think that's about it. So now I'm going to attempt to get that sucker out of there. It's not going to be easy, but what we're going to have to do is I got to loosen up this hose here and push it down, pull it off of that end, and then I'm going to try and get in there with a wrench and turn it without snapping it off. I've been told that these things are rusted pretty good and they got to break off. So stand by. Okay, ran into problems. Absolutely one of the most stupid designs I've ever seen. Alright, so as you rotate this elbow, this little what our finger sticking out here, it's going to hit this bracket right here on the side. You can kind of see it. It's going to hit as they're coming around. So I have no idea how I'm going to get this off because once you turn that, it hits it. So I'm going to work on this for a while. I'll get back to you. Also, by the way, I was unable to successfully get the sensor out, so I'm trying to take the entire thing out all at once. Again, I may come into a problem when this gets around 180 degrees on this side. It might hit over here, so I may end up, I don't know what, but I'll get back to you, let you know what I did to get to this. Alright, so here's what I did. I ended up sawing the tip off of this hose tap here. Certainly not OEM way to do it, but it's the only way I could do it other than having to take this whole unit here apart, which really is difficult at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and probably when I get the new part, I'll probably saw it tip off same way. There's plenty of meat on here to push the hose on and fasten it down with a hose clamp. So that's my solution so far. So, alright, as you can see, it's turned off, taken off. So now I got to figure out how to put the new one on. And while I'm at it, I think I'm going to replace the thermostat. Alright, I wanted to show you the thermostat. Pretty easy to get to, actually. So these two bolts were actually easy to get to. So I can get in here and just take this guy out, just like that. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and replace that too while I'm in there, because it didn't seem to be working very well. Figure, what the heck, I'll do it. So there you have it. Alright, so ready to put the new thermostat in. Looks like that. And before you do that, you want to make sure you clean off the old gasket really good down in here. Use a razor blade or something and scrape this all off real good around, all the way around. Notice that I've got a rag down inside there so that you don't get pieces in there. You don't want to get all the old gasket parts and gunk inside the cooling system. So then you clean all that out, and then have a new gasket here we'll put on. This one actually has a little sticky back, a little bit sticky down, and then we'll put the thermostat on and put the cap back on. Also keep in mind you should clean off the bottom of this cap as well. Make sure it's nice and clean. So anyway, I'm going to go do that part, and I'll get back to you. So I have the thermostat in place, and I put the bolts back on. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you tighten them down equally on both sides. Go over here to this other side and tighten it down. Probably is a torque value for these things. Probably look it up, but I don't know what it is offhand. Anyway, you don't want to get it so tight that you snap the bolt off in there. So I grab the ratchet with one hand like this. That way I can only put so much torque on it. And that kind of gives me my own little torque wrench indicator. And I just go back and forth until they're both nice and snug. And it's nice and tight, and we're good. And we'll move on to the next section. We'll put the elbow in and the temperature sensor. So as mentioned before, this elbow has this nub coming off here, whatever you want to call it, nipple thing, that obviously hits this bracket right here. So you can either choose to go to all the trouble of taking all this bracket off, which is really a pain in the butt, but you can do it, and that's probably the right way to do it. But what I'm going to do is actually going to take a Sharpie pen, and I'm going to mark on this the edge where it just clears this as I rotate, and then I'm going to grind down the tip of it so it clears. I'm trying not to take it all the way down to this knob here, but hopefully I can grind enough off that I can actually rotate it around without hitting this. So I'm going to do next. Okay, well, I have the elbow in, and I have the coolant hose back on. I'm getting ready to put the clamp, squeeze the clamp back on it. You'll probably notice here I actually had to grind this down a little bit to make it fit. After I even grinded down the tip of the elbow as well, it still wanted to hit just a little bit on this bracket here, so I grinded this bracket. Not the prettiest thing. I'm not real proud of that. Not something I would recommend usually. But it got the job done. So now I'm just gonna put the thermocouple sensor in next, and then we'll be about ready to put everything back together again. Put all the hoses in. Okay, tightening the temperature sensor down on here. Again, this is brass going into another metal. Don't tighten it so tight that you snap it off or get it strip it or whatever. But go ahead and tighten that down in there. And once we're done with that, then we start reversing things. We're basically going to have to put this air conditioning unit hose back in place. This bracket down in below, tighten it back in. Let's take the air conditioner pump, slide it back over, put it in place. basically the reverse of everything we had before, putting tubes back on and all your cables back on and stuff. So that's what we're going to work on right now, get it to that point, and we'll check back with you. Alright, so now we got the AC pump back in place. I'm going to tighten down these bolts here, 13 millimeter, these bolts here, here, and here. Alright, and then again I tightened down the bracket that held this hose in place. And then the next step after this will be to put the serpentine belt back on. This guy right here. You can follow the directions right here in the front of the, hopefully your car has one. If not, you can look at mine right here. And of course use the 13 millimeter ratchet down there on the pulley. I just went blank on what it is, the tensioner. To pull that back to slide the belt into place, and then okay, actually was easier to put on the serpentine by sliding it on over this idler, underneath it I mean, simply because I didn't have to fight the lip of this alternator. So when I took the thing off, it actually flipped off real easy. But putting it back on, yeah, just slide it back over underneath this idler. So there you have it. Alright, next step is we're going to put the air hose back in here over the air filter, cap over it, and then we'll put some coolant in it and go from there. So we have everything put back together again, air filter hose and everything, and got coolant back in the radiator. So all it's left to do is turn the engine on and check for leaks all around the areas where you did the repairs. And hopefully, if all goes well, there's no leaks. So hopefully you've gotten something positive out of this video, and it helps you solve your problems. So please subscribe and thumbs up. Thanks.